You read the title. Let's just get into it. Ben Shapiro. I feel like Ben Shapiro is like a normal person. Outside of his grift, he's just a normal guy, which means that he probably doesn't do it. Nick Fuentes. Ah, shit. I didn't think he'd be up first. I'm already gonna have to put a nigga in the meme tier. Wishes he got beat by his wife, but consensually and in a femdom way. The only way that I can imagine that Nick Fuentes is not gay is if he's really into being dominated by women. It's just he reeks of like a guy who is ashamed of his sexuality in some way. You know what I mean? Who is that? Not Knowles. I don't remember this nigga name, but I know for a fact that he first off is gay, so spouse, not wife. And he seems like a normal person outside of his grift. Like it seems like the moment the cameras are turned off, he just like goes back to being a normal human being without those beliefs. Uh, Tim Pool, Tim Pool. If he had a wife, I feel like she'd be very mean to him. The name of this tier is a little bit of a meme, by the way. It's not actually like Gez being by his wife, but like has a wife who's very mean to him, with the implication that he's like very ashamed of it because he has the idea that because he's the man, he's got to be like the one dominating his wife or whatever. You know what I mean? Like this guy doesn't have a wife, but if he had a wife, she'd definitely call him a cunt, and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm not a cunt." Oh. And then audio would leak of that, and he'd spend the rest of his career denying that that's genuine audio. Not because he's like ashamed of being a victim, but because he's ashamed of being a man being dominated by women. You know what I mean? This is very specific, but I feel like you get the vibe that I'm talking about here. Stephen Crowder. There's a reason why there's the word allegedly in that tier, right? Uh, I don't know who the fuck that is. This chick. I forgot her name. People call her the female Ben Shapiro. I think that's very anti-white. Also, unfortunately, that is very funny and accurate. So I will be calling her that. I feel like she's probably a normal person, but if she had a husband, she might like. She's so aggressive and angry all the time that, in spite of the fact that I think she's a relatively normal person, the moment the cameras are turned off, she probably would beat her husband. You know what I mean? Charlie Kirk. I think this says more about. I think this is more about his wife, but like his wife is such a terrible person. I genuinely would not be surprised if something leaked regarding that, bro. Erica, I'm not. This is not me alleging that she does that shit. All right, and nigga, not trying to get in trouble. I'm not saying she beat Kirk. I'm just saying she has the vibes of the kind of person that would do that. She's very selfish. She's very self-centered. She's an asshole. You know what I mean? Uh, I'm full of empathy enough so that I could hypothetically feel bad for Kirk over that, but unfortunately, you're not gonna hear that from me. Blair White. I feel like Blair White is also someone who's a normal person the moment the cameras turn off, so probably not. Steve Bat. Come on, man. Come on. I don't even know if that nigga got a wife, but if he has a wife, that wife definitely is full of scars, man, just covered in bruises. I feel terrible because, like, come on, no, it's this nigga right there. This nigga Steve Bannon is so evil. He was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein exclusively for political power. He wasn't even a pedophile, dog. You have to understand. This nigga is so evil. He was exclusively working with Epstein because that would get him more political power that he could use towards his political project of ending the Jewish race. He's not even a pedophile. And he was friends with Epstein just because he was that passionate about the goal. Nah, that nigga's so evil. There is no way, no way. You hear me? Anyway, Alex Jones. I feel like that's fair, right? Once again, remember the allegedly in the tier name. It's the only reason I'm not gonna get sued, right? I feel like yeah, Alex Jones a risk. You know what I mean? If I like woke up one day and I developed this like huge crush on Alex Jones and I knew him personally, I would probably avoid marrying him just in case. You know what I mean? Don't want to get trapped there. That's just not a risk worth taking. Grums definitely wishes he got beat by his wife, but consensually and in a femdom way. You know what I mean? He probably wishes that he could get punched by his wife and a little bit of like milk would like splatter into his mouth. That's definitely a thought that's crossed his mind before. If you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, please don't judge me. Just look it up. Um. Oh, Candace Owens definitely beats her husband, right? Allegedly. She just gives me that vibe. She's so mean. She's so mean for no reason. And she's so angry too. Oh, she's so full of rage. Which, granted, I get it. And that's not me. That's okay. Let me specify. That's not me like doing apologia for Candace Owens. It's just I understand why she is so mad, right? Imagine being literally Adolf Hitler, dying and getting reincarnated in the body of a black woman. I'd be mad as shit too. I understand why she's so angry all the time. You know what I mean? To an extent, I can't even blame her. But that does mean that she is like a risk. You know what I mean? Like in the hypothetical timeline where I'm Candace Owens' fiance, I am canceling. Alright? This shit is not going through. I'm not taking that risk. I do not know who the fuck that is. I do not know who the fuck that is. That's Knowles, right? Um, he has like too submissive of like a face. I feel like he probably wishes he got beat by his wife, but consensually in an femdom way. You know what I mean? Oh, Matt Walsh is definitely in that tier. Are you fucking kidding me? Absolutely, dude. That nigga is overcompensating the shit out of his perceived lack of masculinity. He's doing the thing that a bunch of like dudes do until they turn 16, which is like they purposely turn their voice way down so they sound more masculine. And you can tell that he does that on purpose, but he's gotten like so used to doing it that he does it nonstop. It's like a thing that he does. Sneeko probably is in that tier as well. You know what I mean? He just gives me those vibes. I don't know who that nigga is. I don't know who that nigga is. I don't know who that nigga is. Um, Nux Taku. Let me make a add row below. Just make it like blue tier. Same as above tier, but his wife is also 16 years old, meaning the punches wouldn't hurt that bad. So at least there's a positive. There you go. Silver lining is probably a better way to phrase it. Silver lining. There you go. Exclamation point. There you go. I feel like he goes in that tier, right? I feel like that's fair for Nuxtaku. I don't know who this nigga is. The quartering, I feel... The quartering's not a normal person when the camera's turned off, but I feel like he doesn't do that. You know what I mean? I feel like he and his wife just kind of like from the vibe that I've gathered, he and his wife just don't give a shit about each other. They just happen to live in the same building. It's, oh, hello, honey. Goodbye, honey. Every time he goes to work, and that's it. Kanye West. I don't think that. No, he does have a wife. Oh, he crazy. He crazy. He allegedly beats the shit out of her. He crazy. That's a crazy man. Asmongold. Hold on a second. Add a row below. Let me just spiritually wifeless individual. Like, you know that episode of Gumball where the dad, Richard, that's his name, gets a job and he is so like fundamentally jobless of a person that he just like the universe like starts collapsing around him because it's so unnatural for him to have a job. Yeah, I feel like that would happen if Asmongold got a girlfriend one day. If he announces that he's getting married, like we're gonna start seeing like the sky turn red and shit. Oh, it's gonna be awful. That's what's gonna kill God. All right. The fucking pronouns guy. I fucking love this man. This man is my favorite human being of all time. I'm being completely 100% serious and unironic when I say this. That is one of my favorite human beings on the planet. I hope to the Lord up above he's clean. I want to see more of that man on the internet. Every time he opens his mouth, it is a delight. It genuinely makes my day better. He's so fucking funny. Anyway, I don't know who the fuck that is. 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 I don't feel like Tucker Carlson beats his wife. That said, he's so like authentically like a Nazi. Like he has such like a hate boner for. I feel like every group. You know what I mean? Tucker Carlson is such like a deeply like hateful person. Some people think that he's like a grifter who doesn't believe a word that he says. He just says shit. You know what I mean? Because it makes him money. And I do think that's an aspect of it, but he's like such a fundamentally hateful person that like I don't think he would ever beat his wife, but he would definitely consider it if his wife has long enough of a nose that he can gaslight himself to thinking that she might secretly be Jewish. You know what I mean? That's the fight that I get him. He's insane. You have to understand that. I don't know who these niggas are. Bro, you're gonna be a far-right conservative as a black. You're gonna coon yourself. That's crazy. Stone Toss. A spiritually wifeless individual, I feel. You know what I mean? If he had a wife, the universe would collapse. Fucking as the world caves in. Yeah. Watson? That this nigga's name? I forgot. He's a very funny guy. I'm gonna put him here, but it's Cope because once again, I genuinely love this man. He's so fucking ridiculous every time he opens his mouth. I don't want him to get canceled and have to flee the internet. I really, really don't. Granted, all these people, if it did turn out that they beat their spouse, they probably would like keep their career. That's literally what happened with Crowder, isn't it? Wait, I don't remember. Was he like proven to beat his wife, or did he just like talk to her in a way that's kind of unacceptable to talk even to a dog? I think that's all that happened, right? Anyway, I don't remember the details and I don't really care. This nigga, I don't know who he is. Fuck. Not Calligrim, the other sword nigga. This nigga funny as fuck. He seems like the kind of like vaguely submissive guy that doesn't want to admit that to himself because he thinks of it as like a personal shame upon his bloodline. You know what I mean? Like he thinks he is a knight who has the responsibility of of like the legacy of his ancestors on resting on his shoulders. You know what I mean? And that's why he's like deathly ashamed of the fact that he definitely wants his wife to be more rough to him in bed. That's just the vibe that I get off that nigga. You know what I mean? Peterson, I know he has a wife, but I think he's a spiritually wifeless individual. You know what I mean? I feel like him getting married is the thing that sent us down the bad timeline. You know what I mean? It like broke something in the fabric of the universe, and now we're fucked. Cause he's such a wifeless man. You know what I mean? Like vibe wise, and yet I'm pretty sure he's married. He's had kids, hasn't he? You know what I mean? And like consensually too. Like he didn't just do that. I guess. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna headcanon that now. Him getting married in the first place was the thing that sent us down the wrong timeline. If that nigga stayed like perpetually single, like Asmongold, Bernie probably would have won in 2016, and America would have free healthcare now. You know what I mean? I don't know who the fuck that is. I don't know who the fuck that is. Oh, Brand? That nigga Brand? Oh, that's Satan. I think that's Satan. And you know what? You know what? I knew Satan would be a British nigga, dog. I fucking knew it. Alright. Oh, this nigga, is that Farage? He's not a grifter. He's a politician. Anyway, um, ah, he gives me the vibes of like this because he's so like timid and demure by Nazi standards. Because like he is a Nazi, right? The fucking passionate Jew burner, allegedly. But he's so like demure compared to most of them. You know what I mean? Especially compared to like most of the rest of the European far right. Because like you compared him to like the Front National or the Alternative für Deutschland people, and he's like kind of quiet. You know what I mean? Maybe it's because he's like British, you know what I mean? And holy fuck, how British is he, right? That I'm getting that vibe. Prager, yep. There you go. Wait. I just made the fucking connection. Matt Walsh had that clip where he talks about like the fertility of young girls or whatever. Yeah, nah, definitely in this tier, allegedly. Uh, but just default to assuming the words allegedly coming out of my mouth after every sentence that I said in this video, right? And I don't know who the fuck that is. I don't know who the fuck that is. I don't know who the fuck that is. All right, so let's double check the rankings, right? Maybe there's some niggas that are in places where I don't think they belong. Crowder, Bannon, Owens, Yay, Brand. I feel like they're all like in that tier that belongs there. I feel. This chick, the girl Ben Shapiro. Oh, by the way, this chick apparently has done like a far right turn. Like she is like on the cusp of being the, you know, like kind of doing the Candace Owen thing, where like, oh, I was under the oppressive arm of the Jew. I used to work under Ben Shapiro. Listen to my story. You know what I mean? So she's very very far right. So yeah, probably beats her husband. I don't know if she has one, but she allegedly probably beats her husband allegedly. Um, I feel like Alex Jones, like most people would put Alex Jones up there. I don't think he belongs there, bro. I think he's just crazy. You know what I mean? But he's not like beats his wife crazy. I think he's like yell at the camera crazy. But if you're like face to face with him and you ask him to calm down, he will do it. You know what I mean? I'm not calling him a bitch. I'm just acknowledging he's a bitch. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Ben Shapiro's probably a normal. Well, I was tempted to put Ben Shapiro in like wishes he got beat by his wife in a sexy way tier, but I think I'm being biased just because he looks like a bottom and therefore he looks submissive. I don't think he actually is. You know what I mean? I think he just looks like that. Which hey, I get it. I'm a low testosterone man too. You know, I get it. I'm 36 years old and I still get mistaken for a lady when people ask for my attention like down the street. You know what I mean? So I fundamentally understand Ben Shapiro in that aspect. I don't want to judge him for that. All right. Um, this nigga, nah. This nigga, nah. Yeah, nah. She's too normal person. It's copium that I'm putting this fucking dude here because I love him so much. You know what I mean? Uh, you know what? He probably belongs here. He just gives me the vibe. You know what I mean? Like bald white man. It just gives me that general vibe as a human being. Uh, Tucker Carlson. Yeah, Tucker Carlson goes up there. Actually, he's so like hateful and unempathetic of a person. Like he's such like a nothing person emotionally. I could imagine him doing it. I'm not saying he did it. Once again, allegedly. He's just an asshole. You know. If I'm his fiance, I'm reconsidering it. You know what I mean? It's like when marrying a cop. Like you're flipping a coin, realistically, right? Look up cops 41%. I guess you don't know what I'm talking about. Um, Watson, I feel like no, Watson's too much of a bitch. Like he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that not because he respects his spouse, but he wouldn't do that because he feels like she would win in a fight, and he'd probably be right. Like he's very much a twink. So hell, I think I could beat him up, and I'm like 68 kilograms at 170, 71. Who am I kidding? 170 centimeters? That's very light. I could probably beat his ass. Oh, that's a fire idea. Oh, I should do that next. Ranking like far right grifters by how likely I am to beat them in a fight. Oh, dude, that would fucking rock. Alright, alright. Pool, nah, Pool, it would be a kink thing. He's too weird. He's too weird. He's too like enthusiastic about weird shit, right? Kirk, but that's because his wife is crazy. Faraj, yeah, that's just the vibe he gives me. I feel like he belongs in this tier. You know what? I'm gonna retract my statement that I said earlier, right? I feel like Nick Fuentes probably has a boyfriend we don't know about, and he beats the shit out of him. You know what I mean? His boyfriend is probably some like tall dude named Tyrone who doesn't know about Fuentes' political career, and like Fuentes beats the shit out of Tyrone every time he's like slightly angry. And he like gets back home after a long day at the studio. You know what I mean? Like Fuentes had a bad day, like reading one too many annoying messages from his fucking chat. Which, by the way, if you've not seen the videos of Nick Fuentes being fucking mad as shit at how much of losers this chat are, please go see them. He is on the verge of suicide, and that is as sad as it is hilarious. Once again, he's a Nazi. Don't have too much empathy for him. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, he's like a power bottom who takes advantage of his position as a dom to do that, and I think that's inexcusable. Grums, yeah, he belongs in that tier. Knowles, he belongs in that tier. Sneeko belongs in that tier. This nigga, you know what? I changed my stance. He's kind of like the quartering in my mind. Like he and his wife don't care about each other. I feel like they walk past each other in the hallway and they're like, "Oh, you here today? Oh, hi." Alright then, and they just each keep walking in their direction, right? Prager definitely in that tier. The bald white man definitely in that tier. Uh, it was kind of a meme to put Walsh here. If I'm being honest, I don't think Matt Walsh is a pedophile. I think he's tolerant of pedophiles, which to an extent everyone on this tier list is because they're all right-wing grifters, and the right wing is all pedophiles. You know what I mean? Like the right wing has entirely consecrated themselves to defending Trump from the Epstein affair. So like, they're all tolerant of pedophiles. I don't think he's particularly special about that. He goes in this tier, I think, or does not beat his wife. I don't know. He just gives me too much of like sub vibes for him to take him out of there, right? Next Taku, it's kind of funny that he's alone in this tier. builds a home just for him. Though to be fair, I've not actually seen evidence that Nuxtaku is a lolicon. We just know that he's friends with a bunch of lolicons. But hear me out. Funny as fuck to put him alone this tier, isn't it? Asmongold is a spiritually wifeless person. Stone Toss is as well, though I do want to say, if hypothetically somehow the fabric of the universe manages to stay intact, if he one day gets a wife, that man is going straight up there. You know what I mean? His wife will be a bruise with a person under it, I think. He just gives me that vibe. He is so angry all the time, and he desperately wants you to think that he's not. You know what I mean? And Peterson belongs in that tier. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. You know what I mean? I feel like I did a pretty good job ranking these niggas. You know what? Next, I'm definitely doing that. I'm gonna do right-wing grifters off of whom I could possibly beat in a fight. I think I'm gonna do that. It sounds fun.